Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Madisonville Marine. Creval center console boats, Hurricane deck boats, Godfrey Aqua Patio pontoon boats, G3 John boats, Skeeter bass boats. That's only some of the types of boats they carry at Madisonville Marine. If you want one boat, your kids want another boat, and your wife wants another boat, or if you want one and your husband wants another boat, if you're a woman watching, get down to Madisonville Marine. They'll help sort it all out for you. Their goal is to sell you the right boat for you and your family, not just a boat. Because if you're happy, you're going to get more boats, and your kids will grow up and they'll get boats there. That's how Madisonville Marine's been doing it since the mid-'70s. madmarine.com. Get down there and check them out. There's no better place to buy a boat. All right, we're going to be kind of quick on this one. It's been vague. YouTube, this is even more vague than the Texas A&M stuff. I watched one of these clips the other day that everyone else is linking to, and it was just double talk, and there was no there. But the not there is Florida State and Clemson are going to be announced soon that they are getting out of the ACC. Never mind the how. They're both suing to try and get out. Never mind how. But they're going to get out soon, as in July, as in maybe today. Do we think Clemson and Florida State, clearly they want out. Clearly they'll get out at some point. But do we think that's going to be soon? And then also, if they get out, do we think it's a natural that they come to the SEC?
We'll see it at the Ace.
Put me down for a maybe on this one.
Well, there's no there in that chair either. Okay.
So the Texas-Oklahoma thing, it happened with the Houston Chronicle report at SEC Media Days. What's happening this week? SEC Media Days. So I'll buy it in some way that if there is a lead up, the timing would be right for the league. So kind of the follow-up question you have, do you buy that it could happen, and if it's happening with Clemson and Florida State out of the ACC, is it to the SEC? The timing would line up with the SEC to have news leak while they have their big media event going on. Funny thing is, last time there's a whole lot of no commenting going on, but it leaked at the time of SEC Media Days for a reason. So it would be appropriate, if it's going to happen, for it to happen in the next few days.
The interesting thing, that was a bit of a bombshell, though. There weren't a whole lot of, there was none of this chatter stuff.
Right.
Yeah. If Florida State and Clemson were suing the NCAA, they'd be out of that deal, right?
Yeah.
Because the NCAA doesn't win any of those things.
That's right.
I do think that they're going to end up getting out of the deal, and I think it'll be within the next 3 years. I actually do think a natural landing spot would be the SEC. Why not?
No, I think it'd be the best landing spot. I think the SEC would be smart to get them because it's now all about getting brand names to create TV matchups. It's not about, well, you need to get it. We're already in that state. That was the last round of expansion. That's not what this one's about.
And you got some natural rivalries anyway.
Although supposedly those natural rivals want to keep their rivals out of here, which
that's what makes them rivals.
Yeah, and if I'm Texas A&M and Florida and South Carolina try and keep out Florida State and Clemson, I would find that very ironic. That you hosed us with Texas, but you want to keep your rival out. Do you think that this could be happening sooner than anyone anticipates, and that it would wind up in the SEC?
That's the tricky part. To me, we know Florida State wants out. We know the SEC is probably where they would prefer to go. Clemson, I think they'd prefer to be in the SEC. So I'm buying the Florida State and Clemson to SEC talk. The timing I'm less certain about because it is a sticky situation. I'm not sure they can get out right now. But could they somehow put out their intent to do it, and they'll figure out the logistics later? Maybe that's plausible, but it still seems like they've got a lot more to work out. So I'm not sure it happens that soon, but maybe they find a way.
If they don't win their court cases and the ACC doesn't cut a deal, they would be giving up their media rights through 2036.
Yeah.
Whereas Texas and Oklahoma sat out 3 years between the announcement. Now, 3 years versus 12 years, that's a big difference.
So what is today, Sunday the 14th? There's no news that's been coming out yet. So the way I look at it, you brought up the 36. Maybe one day down the line, I could see Clemson, I could see Florida State getting into the SEC. But every year, kind of like a high-powered baseball contract, you shred that year, you're a year closer to it happening. Do I believe they make it all the way to 36? No chance. I think it's any time this decade, not buying that either. Plus, we're not even asking the question I think is important. Does the SEC even want Florida State and Clemson? I know they want to get out, but do they want to? Does that the conference would expand to 18?
You'd need what, 12? You need 3/4 to say yes. So you'd need 12 of the 16.
I wonder at what point, to our discussion earlier, at what point do SEC teams start to push back on this a little bit and say, maybe we don't need to go down this road? I don't know if there's a point. I mean, it's so much money out there supposedly for all of them, but At a certain point, this becomes really bad for some of these programs we talked about.
Right.
Would you take them to keep them from going to the Big Ten?
See, I don't think the Big Ten would go after them because they just don't go after non-AAU schools. I mean, they got 18 teams in that league right now. All of them are AAU except Nebraska, and Nebraska was AAU when they went in. And you've got all those presidents up there who love lording that over everybody. So I know that people out there like academics don't matter. Again, though, 18 of 18 schools. I think the only school that gets in there without AAU is Notre Dame. But could be wrong. Again, what do you cross off the list in this world? But this is go ahead very quickly.
Jimmy's got a great point. They've never come out and geography's out the door. I don't know if Greg Sankey would ever allow the Big Ten to come south of Kentucky and plant their flag and go, hello, Carolina, hello, Florida State, maybe Miami.
Perfect. Let's have some fun. When we come back, what if the Big Ten went nuts? What if they went scorched earth? What if we go back to the Cold War and they decided nuclear first strike? We can own all of college football. If we make these moves, the SEC is a second-class league. What if they did it? What would it look like? Should they do that? Should they be thinking mean and ruthless? I would be. Come on back.